The Cowboys have 2 practices down, 13 more to go here at training camp in Oxnard, California. They put on the pads tomorrow. The story of this camp so far, though, is who is not here. That, of course, is running back Ezekiel Elliott. From the owner to the head coach to the players, the Cowboys are downplaying the fact Zeke isn't here. But it's still only July 28th. Who is here is Dak Prescott, and he's the Cowboys' top priority as far as new contracts go. And Dak is not concerned about his own contract or about how Zeke will handle getting his work in despite not being here.
Yeah, it says a lot about Zeke because he's a guy that comes in each and every day and does things the right way. And as I said, we're not worried about him because we know wherever he is, he's doing things the right way. He's getting himself ready. He's probably running the same drills that GB would have him going through. So we're not worried. He's a professional. He takes care of his business when it comes to this game, and that's something we're all thankful for.
Not only is tomorrow the first padded practice, it will also mark the return of yoga sessions at Cowboys training camp. Jason Garrett remembers when he did yoga training with Troy Aikman and Mike Modano in the 90s to help with their flexibility. He wants his current players to enjoy the effects.
It's yoga, but it's also stretching. You know, we talk all the time with our players. Our bodies are our temples. I mean, that's the way these guys make their living. So whatever you need to do to keep your body finely tuned, you know, it's just something that you need to do. And I can remember being a kid reading about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar towards the end of his career, you know, really honing in on, you know, flexibility and using yoga as a tool for that. So I just think it's a way to try to help each of our individual players improve their flexibility, hopefully improve their performance and longevity.
Is Ezekiel Elliott to this Cowboys team what Emmitt Smith was to the 90s Cowboys?
Well, of course, Emmitt had participated in a Super Bowl, being the first rushing champ. Now, this is very important. First time ever a rushing champion was on a Super Bowl.
Everything from Zeke to Dak to Jason Witten. And is this the most talented Cowboys team since those Super Bowl teams of the 90s? One-on-one with Jerry coming up in just a little bit, and more CBS 11 News in a moment.
Hey, sir, thank you. Now, what does Jerry think about his team this year? Mr. Jones knows because he just talked to him. Hello there, Bill.
Hello, Steve, and yes, it is 63 degrees in Oxnard, California right now. Now on to sports. It's the Cowboys' 60th training camp here in overall, a 40th year here in California, 8th straight year here in Oxnard, 14th overall. And Jerry Jone says this is as exciting a team as he has fielded since the Cowboys first started coming to Oxnard nearly 20 years ago. But that's contingent on Ezekiel Elliott being on this team. Jerry says he has a plan in place to make sure Zeke's contract holdout does not extend into the regular season, like Emmitt Smith's did back in 1993 when Emmitt missed the first 2 games of the season. NFL players have taken notice of how loaded this Cowboys roster is. Led by Zeke, the Cowboys have an NFL-high 8 players ranked in the players' top 100 in the league. They haven't announced how high Zeke ranks yet, but it's in the top 30 for sure. While DeMarcus Lawrence is 45, Tyron Smith 52, Zach Martin 59, Jalen Smith 61, Amari Cooper 64, Leighton Vander Esch 74, and Byron Jones 97. Tonight, we sat down with Jerry 3 days into a camp already filled with a few memorable moments.
Excited for this year. It's a wonderful opportunity being out here in Oxnard every year. I mean, I'm not Ezekiel Elliott, but I'm here.
But at what point do you consider Ezekiel Elliott late?
He's late.
Obviously, Zeke is not here. Our focus as a coaching staff, as an organization, is on the guys who are here.
Certainly, we'll be working on it behind the scenes. We feel optimistic that when we're all said and done here, things usually work themselves out.
What do you need to see from Jason and to bring him back in 2020?
What did you say? I really didn't hear you.
What do you need to see from Jason to bring him back in 2020 as your head coach?
I really didn't hear you. I got a damn drill going on back over there. Next question.
We think next year's going to be great with their impressive standout quarterback, Dak Prescott. So glad he's here.
Would you like it to be taken care of by the time the regular season starts?
It'll happen when it happens. I know I'll be better by the time the regular season starts, so as I said, it's my focus.
If it doesn't happen by then, will you table talks at the end of the season so that won't be going on?
One more time.
if you don't get the deal done before the start of the
What did Jerry do yesterday? I didn't hear you.
I can't tell you the numbers of you that come up and say, we're out there at camp with you at Oxnard, Mr. Jones. We're Dallas Cowboy fans. That makes me want to step up there and kick the Giants' ass for them real good.
All right, Jerry, yesterday at the opening ceremonies, your comments about the New York Giants, you turned back the clock there. And by the way, you did win in the season opener against the Giants last year. That was 2012. I want to take you back to 1989. Turn back the clock to 1989. Your first training camp in California, Thousand Oaks, California. What do you remember?
Well, specifically right here at Oxnard, I remember driving up, which took us about 30 minutes from Thousand Oaks. And Al Davis had built a fence as tall as these buildings that we're sitting around. And we walked out on this field, this very field. The Raiders were here at Oxnard. And we had our practices, and then later he reciprocated and came down to Thousand Oaks. But that was my first training camp in pro football. And I remember it, well, better than I can remember last week, the detail of that and the thrill it was to be in the NFL, be at practice, be there with the Raiders, and be there with Al Davis.
And you became such great friends with Al Davis. All right, do you like having a quarterback who, number one, listens to your press conferences, and then, number two, mimics what you say at a press conference when it comes to contracts? He can't hear.
Well, I'll tell you, Dak, nothing surprises me about his awareness. He's got that. And I'd like for our fans to know that when he came in to visit us before we drafted him, our coaches called him the Pied Piper. Everybody just followed him down the hall. He just had that aura about him. And it's his awareness, it's his alertness, and that's one of the reasons I think he's had his success, and that's why we're going to extend him ultimately.
Yeah, he's going to get a franchise quarterback contract. When did you first realize he's your franchise quarterback?
I think that certainly after his first year, his rookie season, that was impressive by any standard. I like the way he handled it. But I like, a lot of people dismiss the physical aspects of Dak. I like the way he keeps his eyes really down the field. I like the way he eludes, and so all of those things physically are important, but mainly he takes everything that he can get in a classroom and then ends up in a game on the football field. And he does that through just sheer diligence and sheer work ethic.
Is Ezekiel Elliott to this Cowboys team what Emmitt Smith was to the 90s Cowboys?
Well, of course, Emmitt had participated in a Super Bowl, being the first rushing champ. Now, this is very important. First time ever a rushing champion was on a Super Bowl winning team. The point there is you don't have to have a rushing champion to win a Super Bowl. But Emmitt was the first one to do it. And that's one of the dilemmas at running back, is that the league knows that you can win Super Bowls and not have the Emmitt Smith back there or not have Zeke back there. Consequently, when we are looking and putting Zeke's contract in place, we've got to realize that the ultimate goal is to win the Super Bowl. And so you've got to do all of the things along with having Zeke that allow you to have other players so that you can win the Super Bowl. And that's what we're going through.
And you've got other players. You've got 8 players on this team that are in the top 100 of the NFL player rankings that are coming up right now. And that doesn't even include Travis Frederick, Jason Witten, Dak Prescott, Randall Cobb, Robert Quinn, all former Pro Bowlers. This is the best roster you've had since when?
Oh, I liked the roster when we had Ware and we had the defensive front of Hatcher, Ratliff. That roster and Romo was really clicking. As I've said many times, my biggest disappointment is not being in and winning a Super Bowl with Romo and the class or the people that were around him. But this is a talented bunch. I think we've got outstanding coaching. And I think they've got the right idea about how to coach these particular players and scheme them. So that gives us a chance. I am excited about the team.
Is Jason Witten the happiest camper in Oxnard? It seems like he has something to prove.
He just amazes me. If you design a football player, it has to be Jason Witten. He likes the dirt. It seems like he likes the physicalness. We all know that that's mind over matter. But he does that, and in doing so, he's become a great player. Along with it, a great individual was in that great player's body. And the people I've met in the NFL, commissioners, fellow owners, TV executives, of all the people I've met since I've been in the NFL, Jason would be in my top 5. He's that kind of man.
Witten's got something to prove. Jason Garrett has something to prove going into the last year of his contract. What does the owner of a $5 billion franchise have to prove?
Well, first of all, it never was and isn't about the financial. I was fortunate enough to have got enough money to be a part of the Dallas Cowboys, but I gave it all up, the money, to be a part of trying to win a Super Bowl and trying to have excellence on the field. So I don't know how much, it'd be a big portion of it, that I'd whittle off that 5 just to get a chance to be in a Super Bowl, I'll tell you that. But that's the goal, that's what we're trying to do. It seems like that sometimes when we've had some of those better teams that it just didn't click for us, but that's what we do. That's why we're there. And we've been a part of 3 of them. We need to make it 3 more.
Jerry says Dak Prescott will be signed to a contract extension. The only question is, when will the deal get done? And up next, we hear from Dak, the Pied Piper himself. This is Dak Prescott's 4th Cowboys training camp. In just 3 days into this one already, it's obvious to me who the most impressive player in camp is. This will be the 3rd straight year that I will walk away from this camp saying Dak Prescott is the most impressive player I saw at camp. From players to coaches to the owner, the opinion is unanimous. Dak Prescott is the leader of this football team, and he is practicing what the head coach preaches about not allowing himself to be distracted by the outside noise.
Yeah, I mean, he always talks about it, and I think that's something that you have to do is continue just to remind guys to put down the social media, put down those things, unless you want that stuff to creep in your mind, because it's real. When you wear the star, you've got to know that attention comes with it, good and bad.
You know, you talk about leadership, that's probably line 1 with Dak, just the kind of guy he is, the kind of leader he is.
Everything that you want a quarterback he is, so everyone on this team would run through a brick wall for him.
As I said, I mean, I signed up for this position as a little boy a long time ago, knowing that you take the heat and you get the credit, and that's part of it. That's something that I love, something that pushes me, is something that drives me.
The intangibles that he has as a leader, as a guy, I mean, it's unlike anything I've ever seen. Everybody respects him. They want to play for him. They listen to him.
I would attribute a lot of that to his ability. He's a damn good football player, but I think a lot of it has to do with the leadership that he has and how he can connect with people and how he can get people around him to play for him, and they want to play for him.
It was his 4th year. I mean, you know, at this point, you know, so much of it you can say is his show as far as, you know, his command. He's running the show.
You know, I expect an incredible year for him. He is the leader of this football team.
I mean, we have high expectations. I think our expectations for this team, and I know mine for this team, are probably higher than anyone's. Pressure is what you create. You put pressure on yourself. When you come in and you focus on what you're supposed to do, and you focus on the things that you can control, the pressure goes out the window. So that's my mindset. I know that's this team's mindset. And if we can continue for that, just to be contagious and everybody have that, we'll put ourselves in a great position.
Everybody singing the praises of the Pied Piper, and Keith Russell back in the CBS 11 studios. I know the Rangers spent this weekend in Northern California. You got much more on them, right?